Hi there, ho there, hello there, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, where we discuss the joy and excitement of U of L women's athletics as we come at you today with a bare bones, down to the bare minimum crew today. We have some of our normal participants in the show are out with other various and Sunday activities. We would have figured that Jared would have been on here trying to do the podcast while not only eating wedding cake but taking pictures of his own wedding. But then he decided not to do the podcast at the last minute. No, I'm just kidding. He is down in South Carolina getting married today. So
I
congratulations.
mean, podcast, marriage. I mean, dude's got to get his priorities straight here. Really.
This absolutely so. And
Yeah.
then you were telling me that you thought he was marrying his cake, and that
Yeah.
would
You know,
I, I've fallen in love with cake before, but never to the point where I actually wanted to take it before a preacher and been totally.
the background on that, he posted last week, a week, something on Twitter about, a week till I get married, blah, blah, blah. And it had a picture of Katie. It was a really nice picture. And they were out eating, I guess, or something. And she had this big chunk of slab of chocolate cake. Looked really good. I mean, the cake is really great. Of course, great picture of Katie. She's very photogenic. Of course, Jared's a great photographer. So all that. But the composition of the picture, the cake was like pretty prominent in the picture. So he posted today about getting married today, and I posted a reply. I said, "Oh, it's Katie. I thought it was the cake." And I said, "Congratulations to the both of you and the cake." So linked to the tweet from last week. So
Somewhere there's a baker somewhere that's so proud.
yeah.
This slice of chocolate cake that I gave Jared, they're going to get me married. Oh boy, yeah, that's I like good cake too.
Yeah,
That's
it
one
just
of
looked
the
like a big, thick, dense chocolate cake. So
one of those nice ones. Yeah, oh those are good. Yeah, boy, now you've got me hungry. And we're 3 minutes into the show, so I would like a piece of cake, please. Okay, if anybody's listening, please send me a piece of cake. Any type of cake will do. Uh, have you ever heard of wedding pies, Jeff?
No, but hey, I'm intrigued by the idea.
Yeah, I am too. And the reason I bring it up is I was talking with, this is a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about someone else actually that I know was getting married. And he said they are actually doing something quite different for their ceremony. They're going to have each one of their favorite pies out there, and that is going to serve instead of a wedding cake. And the
All right.
recipients can come by and have a piece of either one of the bride or the groom's favorite pieces of, of pie.
Hey, I can get behind some apple pie. You
I'm
know,
thinking to myself, if they're going to go in there with a key lime pie, I could go back
ah,
to seconds on that. Yes,
yeah.
that would be fine with me. And so I just wonder why cake was always the preferred type of pastry for a wedding and not pie.
Probably easier to make for large numbers of people would be my thought.
Yeah, I guess I could see that, but then you got to deal with the frosting and
Yeah.
everything else like that, and then
But you can do, big sheet cakes or big round cakes and stack them up and then let you kind
uh,
of get more volume for, yeah. I don't know.
it's an interesting concept. And then I just wondered, you know, if you were married someone out there listening and you had a pie at your reception, let us know what kind it
Yeah.
was.
It's,
I
sounds
think it would be
delicious.
interesting. Yeah, it does to me. I mean, yeah. And would you shove the piece of pie in your bride's face? Ooh, that's another.
Yeah. That whole tradition that is, I've never been a huge fan of.
Yeah, it just reminds me of the old Three Stooges shorts from years ago where they were shoving the whipped cream cakes in each other's faces. Anyway, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, we didn't do that either. It was a nice cake, and I didn't want to waste it. We almost didn't end up with it, but that's another story. But so anyway, that's what Jared's doing today. He's down in South Carolina getting married, and then we got Case who is out today. He is taking part, I guess, as an active participant and perhaps a browser as well in a 3 neighborhood massive yard sale out in the east end of Louisville. I think I saw where Graymore, Devondale was involved in that. I can't remember the other two kind of like suburbs that are involved in it, but it's around that Westport area out there near, I guess what Lagrange Road, Westport Road, that area out through there where he lives. Three neighborhoods are having a massive yard sale, so that could be pretty interesting.
Makes me think of the Battle of Five Armies in The Hobbit.
Okay, I didn't really think of that so much like
I
that.
don't
I
know.
just yeah,
I'm a geek. That's where my brain goes. So
I I can remember that when I was a little boy, they used to have yard sales here on where I live on the street, and they were big attended affairs because we had back in the rural days farmers who would clean out their barns
hmm
and stick all these unique trinkets from the 40s and 50s out there that really weren't old at that time and put them in the yard sale. And you'd be like, "What that? What's that?" See, that's a mechanical hay baler. Ooh, well, you don't see those every day. How much do you want for that thing? So he's out doing that, and hopefully he'll get to buy and sell some things. And poor Daryl's not feeling well today. She's got a bit of illness and is begged off the broadcast today. So we hope that she's certainly feeling better. Uh, Being one who can attest to not feeling great and not doing so well, I sympathize with you, Daryl. And all we can do is just ask you to feel better soon.
And I hope it doesn't interfere too much with her being able to go to her 17 jobs. So
That's true because
yeah,
she's not only does she write once or twice a week for us here, but then
yeah,
she's got her full time job at UofL, which I would imagine might be kind of slow right now.
yeah. It's
Kids are out,
of all times to come down to the cold and have to miss work. This would be probably about the best.
but then whenever the Bats are in town, down at the
Yeah,
little slugger field, she's working down there in some kind of capacity with Nick Curran down there, I think, isn't she?
yeah. Something with the media production. She used to be a camera operator, and I think she's moved up into something more significant than that now. But I don't
Right.
know details. So Daryl, if you're listening, let us know in the chat.
Yeah, because I know that she was a camera operator at one time,
Yeah,
but now I think she's progressed from there on in, and so certainly good. She's got her head on her shoulders and does a very good job with that.
yeah,
So that's Daryl holding down three jobs and still hanging in there. So
indeed.
getting sick can be rough, but as for me, yeah, I'm just basically getting back on the mend here after spending, unfortunately, a bit of time in the hospital with one of the nastiest viruses, kids, I can never tell you about that I've ever experienced in my life. It's called the coronavirus, and it's one that when it hits you with a full ton of bricks. Uh, you put it in one end and it comes at the other almost immediately, and it does not stop. And it got to the part where I got basically very dehydrated, and they had to rush me into the emergency room because I was they had to IV me up and get me rehydrated, and then once that started, well, it started up again because my body had decided, well, we got some more stuff we can poop out here. Great. That went on for 6 days, and so I've
Yeah,
never
that.
been so happy to
Yeah,
get rid of a virus in my life, and I'm still very weak from it all. I think I lost a total of 11 pounds when I was out with this thing, and just trying to get myself slowly back around to the scheme of things. And this is actually one of the first things I've done today that has had me up and kind of getting myself involved in stuff. So I'm glad to be on the broadcast and glad to be with
that's
you
good.
all instead of. I know y'all had the broadcast last week, which I had to miss, unfortunately,
Yeah, yeah.
because I was in the hospital.
We had fun with it last week. It was we're off on random tangents as we are wont to do in the summer, but yeah, it was fun. So, but
Good
we
deal.
missed you. So
Yeah, and that is basically what a lot of our summer broadcasts can tend to be geared
yeah,
toward is just the kind of the random. random rants
Yep.
and things of that nature. We were ranting about wedding cake earlier, and then why is there no wedding pie? But anyway, the problem that we run into this time of year is the news that comes along isn't great as far as quantities, but
Yeah.
certainly quality.
Becomes a very much a trickle of things.
It is. It's
Yeah.
like we were drinking from a garden hose for 9 months. All of a sudden, it slowed down to a drip out of a faucet. So, but we take those drips.
Yeah. And occasionally in those 9 months, it's a fire hose. And that
Every,
in those overlap periods, man. Oof.
yeah, every once in a while, but yeah, uh, right now the prime focus out there really for us tends to be a couple of things. I got a very nice note from Lori Cordy, who is the SID for uh, women's softball at Louisville earlier today. I was doing some research on Brooke Gray, and if you're not familiar with Brooke, what a great story she is out of Louisville Ballard High School, where they will contend today for their second straight state championship in a row today. They're playing today at 3 o'clock up in John Crop Stadium up in Lexington, where the Kentucky Wildcats home softball field is. They will play for the state title up there for the second year in a row today. In those 2 years, she has lost but one game. 2 years, one
Ooh,
game.
that's impressive.
And she's a lefty, about 5'5", 5'6", great little personality. You would look at her and you go, that's not a very imposing or very big picture there, but watch a clip of her. I think
Yeah.
you will see why batters kind of just walk away sometimes flustered because you can't hit her.
Yeah.
You really can't hit her. And as her coach, Alan Jones, who's a character in himself, her head coach out there in Ballard, uh, he's of course, if there's any chance he can pump a player, he's going to do it full. He says, "Well, a bunch of colleges are going to really be mad that they didn't look into her earlier because she's going to be a big one. She's going to be one of the best to ever play in college, and Louisville's got her. You other colleges, you just like okay, well, she hasn't stepped in that circle yet for Louisville. Let's see."
So is that the same impression that you use for Howard Schnellenberger?
My Howard nose got a little more throaty growl to it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty close though.
What I'll tell you about this Cardinals, we got to go with
Yeah.
Jeff.
Okay.
We got
Yeah.
Jeff
It's
Brom.
close.
Jeff Brom is our quarterback. Now he's the head coach of the Cardinals. Brom was in 1999. We were in Virginia. Brom.
Yeah. So it's pretty close.
Yeah, they could basically, yeah, if you were to get each one of them separately on the phone, you might get confused on who you were talking
Yeah.
to. Say,
Yeah.
Coach, and they would both go "Rah,"
Yeah.
because they're both coaches. But Alan Jones, great coach at the Ballard. They're going for that title today. I believe they're playing Greenwood, which is down in the Bowling Green area of our state, if I'm not mistaken.
I
I'm
have
not
no clue.
positive on that. I'll double check just to make sure I got that right. But anyway, so I was reading about Brooks' biography a little bit here, and then the biography that U of L has for her up on the Go Kart site, they have her as being from Leesburg, Virginia.
Hmm.
Okay. We also have another pitcher that is on coming in this class, and a very, very good pitcher indeed. That'll be joining Brooke in the class of this 2003 class, is what they call it. And uh, they've also got her listed as being from Leesburg, Virginia.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking to myself, wait a second here. Okay, is this right? I mean, can we basically have two players from the same town that are coming to Louisville to do this, that went to high school together? And as Lori pointed out to me, thanks for catching that, Paul. Error on our part. So one of
I,
the interns.
I mean, it would be unprecedented to have people coming in that are from. I'm like, we're almost that with volleyball this year too. The freshmen coming in, or I don't think they're in the same school, but I think we're played in the same club because they're both from the Indianapolis area. It's not unprecedented.
With
So
club ball, yeah, I think it would be maybe a little more common and a little more prevalent because uh,
yeah,
It's like, and then obviously here in Louisville, if gee, we got two girls on the team from Assumption. How did that happen? Oh, they're pretty good in volleyball.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
uh,
That Libero factory over on Bardstown Road. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, it's right across from Krispy Kreme too, which is great.
yeah,
Yeah, you do a couple sets, have some fun, go get a donut, go back into the gym. A very, very good program that Ron Quarters had been a part of for so many years out there, and they roll them out. It's just like an assembly line, boom, good players indeed. But so anyway, so Brooke, yeah, is actually not from Leesburg, Virginia. She was born and raised here in Louisville, Kentucky, and like I said, the last 2 years she has been incredible and tops it off. And now she was a finalist for the Gatorade National Softball Player of the Year, Jeff. That's some pretty heavy stuff
yeah.
right
That's
there.
impressive.
That's very good. The prestigious award that it is. They do
Yeah,
that in that
she was
sport.
the Kentucky
Oh yeah,
Gatorade
yeah.
Softball Player of the Year, but a finalist for the national level. Right?
So yeah, got
Not
that.
bad.
34-1 this year. Uh, she went 27-0, and her
Hmm.
ERA was .68, not even 1.0, .68. Uh, this is
Dang.
amazing. She picked 175 innings. She had 287 strikeouts and only 85 hits. That, my friends,
Hmm.
is a circle on fire. And she is a lefty, which make it a little more complicated. But and just to take a look at her, she just looks like your average running in the mill. I don't mean this demeaningly, but she doesn't have the imposing presence of two of the softball players I remember from years ago that just impressed me as being big, strong softball players. And one of those, of course, being Alicia Wolney, who, when you looked at Alicia, you could tell she got some muscle, she's got some tone to her. She looks like she could put a couple out, and then of course she did a
Sh-
little.
She still does.
Yeah, and she still does look that way too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she is kept in shape very well.
and then the other was Marissa Becker.
Hmm.
I remember in the days when we would go to the softball banquets and always went up and talked to Marissa. You just looked at her and you just thought, man. And she would get that haughty look on her face. And can you imagine just having to stare that down from the circle? You're up there at the plate and she's looking at you and she's not happy about something. She's giving you that severe, austere look. And then all of a sudden, she's zipping something 70 miles an hour right past your cranium. Uh, she was another imposing player. Brooke, not so imposing physically, but certainly is getting the job done. That's a very important thing. So, going to Louisville, of course, very, very happy about that. She
Yep.
is maintained a good, solid B average at Ballard in the uh, preparatory classes for college, and then is also a member of the Ballard High School chapter of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, another very good organization as well. So, certainly good things coming up for her as far as what we will see out of her. And as I mentioned, she's actually one of six that'll be coming in with this class for the cards. And I'm going to see if I had that information up earlier, Jeff, and I can't seem to remember what I did with it. Here, I've lost it. Cards actually have a six coming in, so I'm going to see if I can find that real quick
Yeah, I
here.
have not looked at the incoming class for softball. I need to do that.
Yeah, I was looking at it. It was kind of, I really liked it because it looks like to me what I was reading and what I saw in it. We have two really, really good pitchers coming in. As I mentioned, two of them from Leesburg, Virginia,
Yeah,
except not uh, where
we've
they
already
sit.
got a pretty good pitching staff.
When you take a look at returning, uh, certainly Alyssa Zabala would be one that would come to mind first for me. Uh,
Yeah,
coming back, had a very good freshman year. Will be back for her sophomore year. Sambu will be back. Uh, a pitcher who did some good things at spots and times for the Cards out there. Others on the staff as well that have come in. Taja Felder didn't see a lot of time for Louisville, but was saw some time in the
yeah.
circle.
She
There's some ball.
graduated, right?
Did Tasha come back or is she gone?
I mean, she's leaving.
Is she gone? Okay.
Yeah, she went.
Uh,
She did senior day ceremonies, I think, right?
I think so, if I
Yeah,
remember that. Gabby Holloway, I think it's back for another year, maybe.
think.
Maybe, maybe not. But
I
she
don't
was had
remember.
some injuries and some difficulties with her shoulder and her rotator cuff. But she will be another one that possibly the cards can lean on. But getting back to the staff here, and Holly April was very, very happy about it. It's obviously when you go into look at any kind of signing class or recruiting class, you're looking at what is an endpoint to a lot of years of hard work, sacrifice, dedication, and also just kind of culminating in saying, okay, you're coming here. That's great. Now we start a new chapter with you. This was you before Louisville. Now you're at Louisville.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah, and it's a different, in any sport, it's a different level of play, and you don't always know how well it's going to translate from one level to the next. So that's always the thing. One of the things we look at for incoming freshmen is how are they going to be able to adapt to the pace of play and the speed of play and skill level, and not being the star player on the team.
that's true. And I can remember, and just going back a few years back when Taylor Ruby was getting ready to come to Louisville as a freshman and was obviously making quite a bit of uh, headlines and getting a lot of recognition for the pitching job that she was doing up at Bullet East, up there with the program in Mount Washington. And there was also another very good athlete at Bullet East at the time that dribbled a basketball. You might remember Lindsay Duval.
Mm-hmm.
She was also a Bullet East, and so I happened to be on campus talking to the head basketball coach, Coach Stallings, up there about Lindsay, and somehow the conversation kind of went over to Taylor about going to Louisville. And I said, "Did she ever play any ball for you or anything, Coach, or anything like that?" He said, "Nope, she wasn't a basketball player." He said, "We didn't want to interfere anything at all with the way she played softball. And so if she wanted to come over and condition with us, we were fine with that. And sometimes she would actually pop into the gym and do a little conditioning and then go on out to softball." He said, "But she never dribbled a ball or took a shot for us." So, uh, kind of interesting how those things can come about sometimes. Where softball was the key for her, but Holly has gone out and gotten a total of six to actually commit to the class. So,
Yeah, we got the press release up on it now. So,
Lindsey Mullen was the other pitcher
oh,
that I was thinking of, along with Brooke Gray. Both
mm-hmm,
very, very good pitchers who will no doubt complement the staff,
mm-hmm,
but uh, Lindsey being from the right hand side, and then Brooke, of course, a left handed pitcher. So they've got that going on.
yeah, it's nice to have a lefty in the bullpen there.
Yeah, because the lefties are a bit of a rarity at times.
Yeah, and that can
There's not.
you can change the look of the that the batters have to face. It can make a big difference.
Oh yeah, it can make a difference on the way that your rise ball and your drop ball and your and your screwball and everything else come in
Mm-hmm.
there. So certainly so. But Brooke, of course, out of Ballard, we mentioned she'd played for the Louisville Lady Sluggers and playing this afternoon at 3 o'clock for the state championship. So we certainly wish her a lot of luck with that. Honors that she won this year. Where do we start on that?
Hmm.
Kentucky Softball Player of the Year, All District, All Region, All State, MVP at the 2022 state tournament, which Ballard also won, and the Kentuckiana ESPY Female High School Athlete of the Year. Gee, that's not too bad, is it? Gosh.
Not nope. That's a pretty impressive list of accolades, and I mean, that's a high school career. And now start the next level and see what you collect at college level accolades. Now,
Uh, Absolutely. So, as it used to be years ago, we teased Jeff Walls, you're going to have to build another shelf in the trophy case for everything that Angel was winning. That same information may go back at to Holly April. That whatever trophy case that you have in the softball offices, you might want to have building and grounds come in and build an extension on it,
Mhm.
Holly, because Brooke Gray is coming in, and chances are I think she'll be bringing some hardware on campus for the cards, for the things that she can do. One of the top 10 players in the nation
Mhm.
for the class of 2023. And, she's just one that has the expectations of being something very, very fantastic. Let's just certainly see how it develops for her. There are also, as we mentioned, another pitcher coming in as well with this group, and a pitcher who, hey, we've talked about the things that Brooke has done and the things that she's accomplished. But let's take a look at Lindsay Mullen here, Jeff.
I like the last line of the section about her in the press release. As a sophomore, the two-time All-District selection led Tuscarora, I guess that's how you pronounce that, to a state semifinal, earning team MVP honors after delivering 181 strikeouts in 86 innings. That's impressive. While also hitting 5 home runs on the season and registering 19 RBIs. So we have another pitcher batter combo coming in a
Yeah,
little bit. Maybe not. That's not super impressive, but you know,
maybe not to the extent of Roby. We really can't
yeah.
tell that yet, but
Sounds like she
certainly
can hold her own at the plate at least.
you put five out in the season. That's not
Yeah.
bad. That's hitting the ball pretty well. Yeah, they were actually 25-1. Her Tuscarora school was in the Virginia High School League Class 4A tournament championship group. Uh, they only lost actually in the championship game. And in her junior season, like you mentioned, look at those numbers she had her junior year: 237 strikeouts in 111 innings.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible right there. 4C Player of the Year. Two very highly heralded athletes coming into Louisville that will be donning the circle. And uh, it's very easy for one to envision both of them along, obviously, with Alyssa Zabala and maybe a fourth pitcher from the card staff going in and giving Louisville a pitching staff that a lot of the ACC will look at and go, how are we going to hit this crew? Wow. It looks like they may have some depth beginning to stockpile in the pitching position, Jeff.
Yep. Indeed.
In addition to that class, they got a catcher coming in. We had
Looks like
mentioned,
a
yeah,
couple, maybe.
times that we had mentioned that Sarah Gordon had been basically flying solo at catcher with no officially announced backup. I don't know if
Yeah.
Sarah ever came out of a game during this season, did she?
I no reason to.
Yeah, and she was fantastic. She got it all done. Sometimes it was double header was going to be rough on a person, but she hung in there. She did them. She got them
Yeah.
finished. Jack Hasty, who is out of Chesapeake, Virginia.
Yeah. Chesapeake,
Uh,
Virginia, not Maryland. Yeah.
yep, Virginia. Holly recruiting out in that area a little bit there. She was a catcher out there, and just took a look at some of her numbers as a junior. They were runner-up finish in the regional tournament. She was 2 times all Tidewater second team, and was also honored as the Western Branch's Offensive Player of the Year in the spring. So, certainly someone who can hit the ball, and certainly somebody who can throw the ball from back behind the plate back out as well. So good to have. Charles Lorenz, they've got her listed as a infielder and an outfielder.
Yeah, and in the introductory text, they were like she might infield and catcher as well, both her and Jack. So sounds like both are capable of playing in a lot of different places, which is
Yeah,
nice to have that flexibility.
always good to have a player who can go to multiple positions if needed. Because as the season goes on, you never know what's going to happen as far as injuries and
Yeah.
slumps and things of that nature that take place. And it's always good to have somebody in the background ready to come in if needed to step in and say, okay, I can do that for a few games. Yeah, put me in there, coach. And she certainly sounds like that kind of player. Uh, Also, Katie Thatcher will be coming in. She's from Rock Falls, Illinois, Jeff, a first baseman combination outfielder. So can go either. I'll just try to get some of the basics on her. They were 22 and 12 overall as her junior year went through. Uh, she had 9 home runs her
Nine
junior
home
year.
runs, 31 RBIs. Yeah.
Yeah, and also majored, also lettered in basketball. So,
And also did some pitching, apparently.
oh, I didn't even see
So
that.
pitched a total of 16 games, striking out 175 batters, 334 innings, which is decent number for sure. I suspect we will not see her in the circle, given the rest of the number of pitchers that were, as you said, amassing on the roster. So, but you know,
You never really know for sure, but it's good to know that she's got those capabilities just in case they're called on, right? There you are. We'll
yep,
see what happens with her. But they got her right now. It's the first baseman outfielder, another outfielder. This one coming all the way in from Massachusetts, Taunton, Massachusetts. That's a ways from Louisville. Ava Venturelli.
Venturelli. Yeah, I think that's probably it.
I'm going to call the pronunciation Venturelli on it.
Yep.
Played at Dalton High School. They won 2 straight titles in her time there, and they're 3 in the last 4 seasons. So a dynasty team that she played for up there. She batted 457 her junior year and had 12 home runs, 48 RBI, 46 RBIs. Uh, Sounds like a power hitter. Sounds like somebody who can definitely hit the ball for double bases and such. And also played for the Louisville Lady Sluggers, and
I,
that's kind of interesting.
oddball. Yeah, like unless there's another Louisville Lady Sluggers club in Massachusetts or New England area.
Yeah, you just got to wonder how that worked. Does she come down and maybe stay with a host family for a couple months and goes out and plays with the Sluggers while she's in town? Or certainly she's not, I'm sure not catching the
She
red
also,
out of flying for games,
yeah,
going
she
back
also
home.
was a key member of the Rhode Island Thunder Gold Squad. I mean, I don't know. That's bizarre.
So an outfielder who looks like she can add some things to Louisville as well. So it looks like she's recruited very, very well. Holly has in the
Mm-hmm.
areas where we had some questions on uh, what was going to come down the road for Louisville. One of the major questions I think we had probably real early in the season was before we knew we had Brooke Gray coming in. Well, who's going to replace Roby?
Yeah,
Well, you don't really replace a Taylor Roby, but you can certainly bring in some talent that will augment and maybe help equal a little bit what she had. When you combine what obviously Brooke Gray is going to be able to do if she can continue to do that in the collegiate level along with Lindsey Mullen, that's restocking pretty well there.
yeah. That's a reload. I think. We lose a few key players. I did find the senior day. Um, well, I found the intro to the Boston College series, and it had a picture of 5 players, of which I was pretty sure were the seniors that they honored. Taja Felder was among them. Gabby Holloway was not. So that's I think we get Gabby back, but not Taja. I think Taja's she may be out of eligibility. I don't know if she used her COVID year or not.
She was a transfer in, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, and I always struggle to keep up with how many years of eligibility transfers have over people who came in directly. So
Yeah, because of the COVID coddle I like to call it, where
yeah,
a lot of players for what's been a significant period of time have gained an extra year of eligibility because of COVID in the one season where activities
Yeah.
were really curtailed. It was the 1920 season for the most part. Trying to,
2020, but
yeah, 2020 season. I said
he
1920.
said 1920.
Well, that was a century
All
ago.
those flappers get another year.
Yeah, we were in the speakeasy one minute, and the next
That's
thing
right.
you had, boom, no softball for you. Yeah, that 2020 season was rough on a lot of programs for not getting into a chance to play their full slate and schedule of stuff. But good deal for softball,
Mhm.
looking good. Roby has done quite well though, in her time here at Louisville. And one of the things that I, I think that we need to probably mention about this squad that happened for them is, in addition to Roby, uh, what about Corby Otis? She was named to the second team of the D1 softball All American teams, along with Roby. And the impact that Corby Otis had on this team throughout the spring and early summer was pretty incredible, Jeff.
Yeah, yeah. She's man. Mm, I can't put into words how much fun she was to watch, and I expect she will be to watch in the coming couple of years. So yeah, keep an eye out and remember that name. You're gonna hear it more.
And certainly a ball player who I think is a self-starting kind of leader type. You really don't have to motivate her too much. She's ready to jump out there and get things done and do them well. And the same thing can be said about somebody who was on the third team was Sarah Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Gordon, who, as we mentioned, was the catcher last year, was the 2023 ACC Freshman of the Year. Out of all the freshmen in the ACC, all the great teams that were in the ACC, it was Sarah Gordon who ended up getting Freshman of the Year honors. And why not?
Yeah,
As a freshman, she batted 379, 11
absolutely.
home runs, 12 doubles, you know,
How many?
almost 50 RBIs.
You got numbers on how many pickoffs at second base you got?
Oh my gosh.
That's a
Uh,
large number.
yeah, I mean, I would set the over under on that on 12. What do you think on that, huh?
I don't know. It's a bunch.
But certainly somebody that I think base runners pretend to will take a second thought about if they get on
No.
first base. And seconds open. Do I want to take the chance? Am I going to go after that? I don't know. Gordon's got an arm. We'll see.
I wonder in practice if Corby Otis is trying in practice is trying to steal second and Sarah Gordon's trying to throw her out. How does that go?
Boy, that
Like
could be
it's immovable object versus irresistible force type thing there, right?
Roadrunner versus Wile E. Coyote. You know,
I don't know, man.
because Otis can go.
Yeah, man. Otis got picked off only once, and that was actually she actually ran past second and ended up in a pickle.
Yeah, that
Like
was.
the whole season got picked off once out of 20 some attempts. Yeah.
Yeah, she unfortunately did kind of overshoot the mark that one time there. But
Yeah.
uh, when you take a look at her and some of the things that she did, Otis is definitely going to be a very, very huge part of the team next year, where you're going to lose that bat that we all really thought was pretty fantastic that Roby brought to the lineup. You have to take a look now. I think it's some of the players who you're going to count on to step up and maybe kind of try to, I don't know, not replace Roby because that's something you can't do, but to step up and provide some of the hits that they're losing with her. Easton Lotus, another one you need to put
Hmm.
in that group.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Corby Otis, Easton Lotuses too. You can find, Sarah Gordon obviously is a threat at the plate. She demonstrated that quite well. Um, obviously you got the incoming crew, the incoming freshmen. Um, the other big offensive threat, I think, was Hannah File, who's also graduating and moving on. So got to have a few more to replace there too. Um, But yeah, it's gonna. We get Daisy Hess back though, right?
Yeah, Hess will be back
Yeah,
for another year.
yeah. So add her in there.
Yeah, Hess, who
God, yeah,
transferred in from Georgia Southern and was certainly uh, one that came in and said, "Well, I played a little shortstop at Georgia Southern. I understand y'all got a shortstop." And Ollie said, "She's also a third baseman. Guess what? You can be the shortstop." And
yeah.
Alexander, I think maybe as time went by, really kind of enjoyed her move over to the third
Hmm.
and did well
Yeah,
over.
she looked really comfortable there, and she certainly was effective. So, um, she's can get a few hits. 208 was her batting average, so it's not spectacular, but not terrible. Um, yeah, Corbiota, Sarah Gordon, Daisy Hess, people returning. Daisy Hess, Easton Lotus, Paige Garrity hit 275.
That was certainly quite a bit of
Yeah,
help in the outfield out there as well with a good glove.
yeah, she covers a lot of ground in the outfield. You don't. I think watching her play, you don't think of her as a big power hitter. She's not a power hitter. She's a slapper, but you know, hitting 275, that's not bad. Yeah,
And certainly you like to fill those bags full of cards
right.
so that somebody can get them to the home plate.
Yeah, it's definitely more small ball play. I mean, we talked about that early in the season as well. Despite Sarah Gordon and Taylor Roby sending every other ball out to the berm, mostly this team plays small ball. Um,
And it was
so
my probably downfall to ask Holly about that one time.
yeah, yeah,
I said, "So is this going to be a power team that's going to be putting them at and go for 3 and 4 run innings, and or are you more of a small ball team?" And this was at the fall conference they had last year. Roby kind of looked at April, and April kind of looked at Roby, and they said, "We're small ball." I said, "We're definitely a small ball team." I said, "We don't have the power hitters." Well, guess what?
yeah.
Guess who showed up?
They found a few, but
Who was
but there
knocking
were
at the door? Yes,
there was a lot of small ball play this year, certainly.
I
So
stand 50% justified, and we hit a
yeah,
home run. But anyway,
yeah. A couple
uh,
couple of big hitters were still there, but yeah, yeah,
of course, you're losing, a very, very good one in Roby, who's actually going to play what the USSA ball, if I'm not mistaken, USSSA ball, three
yeah. I think
S's
there's
in there,
three S's. Yeah, just throw
and
some random number of them in there.
it's a fast pitch league,
Yep.
and I think there's
I
maybe
have like
6 teams in that league, something
I was
like that,
thinking it was four, but it's not
maybe
a
four.
big league. But it's kind of reconstituting. It existed a while back, and it's reforming. I think it kind of went on a hiatus for a while. I think and reforming. So I don't know. Here's hoping they can see some success. It's not a long season. I think it's like 4 or 5 weeks is it. But
And I think it was maybe, yeah, it was during the heights of COVID. There was a Florida league too, wasn't there? That was maybe a
yeah,
soft
they had a
to
lot
that.
of those, those summer leagues pop up and, grab a
Yeah.
few players. And yeah, those can be fun to watch and follow.
Hey, sweet. And of course, this is with most of the major softball all completed now that Oklahoma's won the
Yep.
College World Series and stuff like that. Most of the actual collegiate, and other softballs completed. But I'm going to take you back, Jeff.
Okay.
I'm going to take you back a couple decades, buddy. You ready to go?
Oh, dear. Okay.
Yes, let's go back to 2004. Let's go back to when George Bush was running for president again in 2004. You and I were leaning back to Fat Joe, right? We were getting ready to get it started with the Black Eyed Peas, Jeff, remember?
Okay.
And
That one I
guess
get.
and Fat Joe was telling us to lean back, lean back. And guess who had showed up at the UofL campus in 2004? No, not Jeff Walls. No, not Daryl Faust. It was Patricia Barlow.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Patricia Barlow
Yeah.
from Barron County High School? She came in to play basketball at U of L, uh, and Jeff Walls was not even on campus yet. She came to play ball for Tom Collin. Remember Tom Collin,
Yep.
the Mel Brooks lookalike,
Yep.
who who was. our head coach until she.
Yeah, so that was also back in the Angel McCautry days. So
It was Angel
yeah,
with
right around that
back in
time
back
frame.
in there. She
Cou-
was indeed.
Couple of
Carla was
years, I think, before my family started getting season tickets, but
okay.
close.
Uh, I was not doing any major media at that time. I was doing a little bit. I was still actually sitting in the stands, like
Hmm.
many others were, and had season tickets for sitting in the stands up there.
Not super many at that time.
Yeah, it was. There was a small
1,000
group
maybe.
of us. Yeah, there weren't many of us.
Yeah.
Uh, Sitting with the Hancocks, real good friends of ours who we've maintained all these years. We sat with them and Shirley Blanton, another very, very
Hmm.
nice lady
Hmm.
who's still a season ticket holder. And
Yep.
we remember seeing, of course, Patricia Barlow coming at the little 5'7" point guard. She was an assist maker, a dream. She could really get that
It's
ball into
quick.
scores.
Yeah.
Players like Angel McCautry, like Candace Bingham, people who could score. And then Jeff Walls came as an assistant from Maryland to take over. He kept Barlow at guard. She would be there for 4 years. And then after those 4 years were up, she kind of thought to herself, I keep driving by Omer each day and it looks like they're having a lot of fun over there. I played in high school. I wonder if.
Yeah.
So she contacted the softball program, talked with a head coach at that time, Sandy Pearsall. We all know and love and remember Sandy.
Hmm.
And Sandy said, sure, come on over. I'm going to ask you to try out. Let's see what you got. Well, she wowed him. She absolutely wowed him. She actually took over right field in a team that had gone to the
Yep.
NCAA tournament the year before.
Yeah. Starting ended up a starter on the team in the lineup.
Was as Pearsall said about her at the time, she puts in a lot of hours at whatever she does to make sure she's successful at it.
Yep.
She's a hard worker, and that's what it takes. If you come in and do the work, and you do the work properly, you'll get the rewards. You'll see the benefit. You'll grow with it. And she had a very, very good career not only in basketball, but also in softball at Louisville. After her year of softball was completed, let's jump back to the present now.
So here's the thing. She could have. Did she redshirt her freshman year for basketball?
I
Do you
don't
remember?
believe she did. I think she actually played,
So
if I'm not mistaken.
she probably could have played 2 seasons of softball.
Oh, I'm
She would have
wondering.
missed the beginning of the first one because it would have been the same. She would have been finishing up basketball.
Hmm.
Do you remember?
Oh,
Was it the same year that she went out for softball, or was it the next year?
I'm pretty. She didn't play softball till the 2009 season.
So it must have been the next year. Okay, so she didn't jump immediately to softball.
So she
She
was
waited for the
04,
next year.
05,
Okay,
05, 06, 06, 07, 07, 08.
and then
Play like
'09 for
this.
softball. Okay, yeah. So that
And
would have been her fifth year. Okay, yep.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
because there's that weird thing. Like she could have like finished basketball, and if if this had been done ahead of time or arranged or whatever, she could have immediately joined the softball team and played that season and actually played, half of that season of softball, the latter half of it or more, and then the whole next season on her total of 5 years of eligibility. But didn't happen. So unfortunate.
was a part of some very, very good teams out there at Ulmer.
Hmm.
But then, as I say, let's jump back into the present now. In 2023, she's still playing softball.
Yeah.
Patricia Barlow, although it be slow pitch instead of fast pitch,
But at a very high level.
she is on the 2023 USA Women's Slow Pitch National Squad. That takes some talent. And
Yeah.
I don't want to age her too much, and I know she's pushing 40, okay,
Yeah.
and still playing competitive softball on the
Yeah.
highest level at that
That's
age.
yeah. impressive to maintain that level of conditioning. I mean, it's not fast pitch, so you're not dealing with that aspect of it, but it's still all of the rest of the game is still being played at that same level, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, and if, yeah, when we think of slow pitch softball, at least in my case, I think of the Catholic beer leagues that I used to play in years ago.
Right?
This is a whole different squad.
Right.
This is a
It's a
whole
different
different.
thing.
Yeah, and these kids, although I
Kids.
don't, yeah, yeah, they bang the ball pretty good. Our kids, yeah, that's right. uh, for what I was reading on it, I don't think we're going to get a chance to see this team play in Louisville. Unfortunately, it would be fun to catch them if they came through. But unfortunately, I think the closest, if I'm not mistaken,
You said
uh,
Evansville.
is Evansville.
Mhm.
I'm just verifying that to make sure. Uh, we've also got a Phil Maddie on the team from Kentucky.
Hmm.
Oh no, that's a men's team. Never mind. Uh, I'm just kind of looking ahead here to where they might be playing, and I think their border battle is. But in any event, okay. So
Yeah,
congratulations to her on that for being able
absolutely.
to do something that as much of us approached 40 or getting near 40 or got to 40 and past, kind of looked fondly back in the day. She's still living the day,
Yeah.
still having fun with it.
Yeah.
And some more power to her.
Yeah.
Keep going on that for sure.
Other, let's see, other professional stuff going on. We've got more signings, not U of L, but more signings for the Professional Volleyball Federation. That league is, I'm saying probably a couple of signings a day or announcements of signings a day for that. So, got two Cardinal alumni that will be playing in that league. With Claire Chassé and Tori Dilfer. I think we talked about them a little bit last week, but that
And then
continues
both of them
apace.
are playing under married names now, right?
Not Claire. Claire's not married.
Not
Tori
quite,
is. Tori Dilfer Stringer is. Yeah. Yeah.
but
You're thinking of Anna Stevenson, Stevie, who's
that's right.
Anna Stevenson Hall now is her married name. So, but I have not seen a signing for her. I don't know if she's on board with that yet. So, I wouldn't be surprised if she is, but I haven't seen a signing for her yet. So I'll keep an eye out.
So the format of what they do, will we get to chance to see any of those squads play here in Louisville?
Not unless Louisville announces a team, which
Oh, okay.
it's still a possibility. They don't start play until next year, but so far nothing from the Louisville area. I would love to see it happen. But Claire is going to be playing at in Grand Rapids, Grand Rapids Rise, and Tori is on the Atlanta team, who does not have a name yet. They had a contest to name the team that is completed, but it has not been announced yet. So don't know what the name is.
Always good to see the Cardinals that we love so much watching here during our
Yeah.
careers go on and being able to pursue their dreams once they've graduated and stay in the area of sports that they loved so much and took part in.
Yep.
Very good. And then the mystery, which we still have not solved, is the mysterious tweet that we saw. And I think it was also on what did you say, Instagram?
I think also on Instagram was some information about it. Yeah.
What is going on with Kay Morstead?
Right. There was a tweet that said, "Thank you, Kay." And that was it. So we don't know what that is about. It sounds like maybe she's leaving to go somewhere else, but we have not seen any announcements to that. So yeah. We'll keep our ear to the ground.
Yeah, there's nothing on the UofL website about it anywhere. I did take a look at my Facebook and my Twitter accounts.
Yeah, I've looked, I've searched, I'm finding nothing. So I don't know what that's about.
Explain yourself, Kay.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Obviously
we'd love her to stick around, but if she's going on to bigger and better things, though, you got to appreciate that. But
and
love to know.
Yeah, if there is something like that transpiring, we would certainly hope that it would be something where she's moving up the ladder
Yeah.
and say all of a sudden she's going to take over this program as a head coach.
Right.
That's great for her. She's been a very invaluable assistant over the years down there,
Absolutely.
and it's going to be very strange not to walk into that little lacrosse office over there and see her sitting at her desk there, staring at stuff, and then looking up and smiling and saying hi and inviting me in to talk to her before even bothering to tell Teeter I was there. and then Teeter would come out poking around looking for me. He says, "I always know where I can find you. You're always in here talking to Kay." Yeah, that's right. I'm always talking to Kay because I like Kay too. So hopefully she's not leaving Louisville, but if she is leaving Louisville, I do want to say I hope it's because of a good reason.
Yep.
That she's gotten another position elsewhere that's going to give her a little more increase in responsibilities, like being a head coach. That would be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that'd be fantastic for her. And I think that's a very real possibility.
And I think she's one that could run a program pretty well.
Yeah.
Too. I don't think she would have any trouble at all running a mid-major. Someone like that.
Mm-hmm. Initially, and then moving up from there. Yeah.
But we will try to see if we can endeavor what else is going on here, since we don't know right now.
Yeah. Keep our ear to the ground on that one.
And if anybody does find out about a day, drop it in the comments.
Absolutely.
Let us know, because we're always interested to see what's happening as far as some of our favorite coaches go.
Mm-hmm.
What else? So we're golly, Jeff, we're almost through a whole hour here. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Volleyball is in there, in Brazil. They're on their trip. They left a couple of days ago. They are touring around Brazil. We're going to play 4 or 5 matches while they're there. They posted some video from their practice, like right after they got there. Basically, I think went almost straight from the airport to a place to do a practice. Mostly just kind of limbering up after. I think they said it was like 10 hours of flying. So
Ugh.
yeah, it was. They flew Louisville to Newark, I think, New Jersey, somewhere in New Jersey, and then direct from there to Brazil, to Sao Paulo, I think. And so yeah, just a long flight. So they got there, got it practice in, loosened up, limbered up, got movement, and then went out and did some touring. They do have a social media person with them from the department. Among all the staff that's there, of course, coaching staff, support staff. Whitman is there as graduate assistant, all that whole coaching staff, some spouses as well. So we should get some pretty good social media output from them while they're there, in addition to just 18 to 22-year-old women who tend to be pretty active on social media in general. So some good stuff, some great pictures. Sounds like they had a beautiful tour of the city yesterday, I think, and having a lot of fun. So looks like a great time.
And do we have a general idea of how many contests they'll be involved in down there and who they'll be playing?
I think 5, but I don't like hold me to that number. I don't know that for sure, but I think it's at 5 in that range territory.
And obviously, it's kind of doubtful that these will be broadcast back to the States. But
yeah, I haven't seen any.
I
haven't seen any indication
YouTube
of
or
it.
Facebook.
Yeah, I wish. If I see of any, I'll certainly let you know. Certainly, we'll put it out there. But so far, we haven't seen any indication, and I've seen other people ask on social media about it, and the queries have gone basically unanswered. So I get the impression it's not going to happen, but we'll see.
So while they have gone south, we would be remiss in not mentioning that basketball will be going north soon. That's right. They will take place as the United States' representative in the little tournament they have up in there in Canada, which I think is the second year for that tournament up there, Jeff, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yes.
VCU was up there last year to represent, I think, the United States, but the Canadians won it last year in their own country, obviously.
And that was
Louisville,
was that with Marissa Russell playing
yeah,
for
she
them?
played for Canada last
Yeah.
year. Now this year she's going to play for us, I do believe,
Okay.
on the Louisville squad. What it is, what's great about it, it's giving Jeff Walls all those extra weeks of practice to
Yeah.
take these new players that he's got coming in.
Right. That's it's much the same as the volleyball. The big drive for it is that you
Yeah,
get several weeks worth of extra practice time and work with the team. So
where you can
absolutely.
work with them and mold them and kind of get to know some of the things that your players that are coming in can fulfill certain roles for you and positions that you need taken care of. Uh, it could be a fun season for Louisville basketball this year, Jeff, because we have the vast uncertainty of the unknown here after Van
Yeah.
Lith.
Yeah. Well, and no incoming. Well, one person on the incoming freshman class was a late signee, and expecting lots of transfers. So yeah, it's kind of like gonna be kind of like watching a new team to some degree.
Jeff Walls will definitely need to get all his magician and his circus tricks out for this
Yeah.
one. But I'm sure knowing the mad scientist and the way he operates, the opposing opponents out there laying in wait for Louisville will be very, very bewildered and have no idea what Walls is hitting them with
Yeah.
because he tends to throw that kind of stuff at people. As for volleyball, let's hope that they go down there and do well and represent themselves well.
Hmm.
I don't think there's any type of official title or anything like that could win. They could win down there for winning 5 games or 6 games, right? Nothing like
No,
that.
because it's not an overall organized organization. It's just a team
Yeah.
going down there and hey, let's arrange multiple. So one, I got to share this. I mentioned on the show a couple of weeks ago, Dan Meskey, associate head coach of volleyball, has his own podcast now. Out of Rotation is the name of it.
Uh-huh.
And on the most recent one, he was speaking with Julia Bergman recently from Georgia Tech. Right,
Yeah.
Julia was
One of the killer bees.
yeah. Originally, Julia was from Germany, but lived for most of her life and is currently living in Brazil. Right. And so Dan asked us, "What should our teams going down there? What should we do? What should we be sure to see and do while we're head down there?" And Julia asked him, she says, "So where are you going?" And it was funny. Dan's like, "I don't actually know." Because we have this great director of operations, and she just kind of tells me where to go, and I follow it. Everything works out great. Which, of course, referring to Sarah Petkovic, wonderful director of ops for volleyball. It was kind of a funny moment. He was like, "Yeah, I don't actually know where all we're going," from the associate head coach. So that's lovely.
That's in stark difference to the way that Kate Matthews Tucker used to play in basketball trips for the women when she was the director of operations down at the UofL before she kind of retired.
Oh, well, yeah. I suspect actually there's more similarities than differences. I suspect the information was available to Dan, but he may not have availed himself of keeping track of it because he knows that it's just all going to work out because it's in Sarah's hands.
Kate had a dossier for every 30
Yep.
seconds of the trip.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no doubt that Sarah is similar with that. So
It just, yeah, as a reference to Sarah and a real quick one to that, back when I was with a certain fraternal organization, a Central Cardinal Club. I don't mind talking about it now. I was with them for a short while, and we had a fundraiser, and so they asked me if I would go around to some of the various programs and get things that could be raised, as all for a silent raffle, right? So I went over to volleyball and met with Sarah. I said, "Hey, it's for Central Cardinal Club. What can we get? What y'all would like to raffle out?" She goes, "How about a volleyball?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that'd be fantastic, super." So 5 minutes later, she's back with the volleyball. She goes, "How about coach's autograph on that volleyball?" And I'm like, "That'd be even better. Can we do that?" She goes, "I'll be right back." A couple of minutes later, there's coach's autograph on the volleyball. I said, what else can we do with it?" She goes, "Do you need her to come speak at this thing?" I said, "Oh, no, no, no. It's a silent auction. She didn't have to puff her own goods. This will be a high ticket item." And I think that volleyball actually went for like $70.
yeah.
But I remember, but oh yeah, a brief member of Central Cardinal Club for a while, and that's just what I remember. Sarah was just always
She's
gung ho,
amazing.
go get it,
Yeah.
knock it out, boom.
Yeah. I got nothing but praise for Sarah Pektovic. So
Like her very much, and
she's a
certainly.
phenomenal volleyball player in her time, and she's an extremely good director of operations. So
So we're waiting to see what happens with Kay Morissette as we get
yeah,
ready to leave you today. We're going to search the AP, the UPI, all news
keep
sources,
track of
Canada,
it.
see what we can find out. I might even try a text to Teeter and see what happens there, but we'll find out and see if we know what's going on. In the meantime, believe it or not, we've reached the top of the hour. Let us go ahead and get ourselves into some final thoughts. And I'll kind of started out. I was maybe just a little bit nervous today about the show with only Jeff and I. It's been a while since he and I got back to the format where he and I used to do the show by ourselves each week back in the old days when we were
Yeah,
on radio.
basement on the hill, man.
Back when we were on, that's right, Frankfurt Avenue, WCHQ, even before we had call letters
Yeah,
broadcasted on AM radio. But it was a fun format, and certainly we had a good time with it today. We're looking forward to get some of our others back in here next week.
that's right.
But just a special thanks to everybody who's tuned in to listen to us today, because I'd been out for a while and I'm just trying to get my feet wet again too, kids. So thanks for that. What you got for me?
Yeah, just to kind of revisit where we started out with, congratulations to Jared and Katie. Special day, obviously, for them, and we wish them nothing but the best. And the cake.
Yeah, and hopefully the three of them will lead a very happy life together.
That's right.
Jared, Katie, and a piece of cake. Congratulations. He is certainly, it's going to be fun to see the pictures from this too, because
Yeah.
he actually had to hire another photographer to do the work.
Well, the good side of it is he knows a lot of good ones too.
Yeah, I don't
They're
know
the
who he
work he
knows
does.
down in that area, but I'm sure he's
Yeah.
got some contacts. I don't
Yeah.
think he brought a Louisville photographer with him to do that down there.
No, probably not.
But Jared, we're thinking of you. Just remember, saying "I do" are two good words on a wedding day. Okay, get those two words down. You're going to be in pretty good shape. And other than that, we'll see you when you get back home here, pal. Have fun, and thanks to everybody for listening today. We had a fun broadcast, and we'll certainly see you next week here on the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast. Until then, a big go cards to everybody out there.